We now move to the heavyweight division, a title fight here between Chris Settles and John Gardner. And the big boys are going to go at it here in OFC22 and fighting for a belt. So it should be an action-packed fight here again between Chris Settles and John Gardner. The Viking Warrior is Chris Settles, tremendous nickname. Gotta love that. And for Chris Settles, he feels he's a better wrestler and wants to stop the takedowns. But tell you what, when you got a couple of heavyweights going at it, expect to see some haymakers and bombs here in this title fight.
Amateur heavyweight action, of course. This is one I've personally been looking forward to. It's time to put the heavyweight title on the line. Send it up to Nick Hahn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the challenger for the heavyweight championship, Chris Settles.
Chris Settles, 22 years old, from Strike MMA with one of the best nicknames in the OFC. That's the Viking Warrior.
If you go by the name the Viking Warrior, you gotta be a bad man, and Chris Settles, certainly that. And again, he feels like he is a longer fighter, a better wrestler. He's aware of some submissions, but again, you got heavyweights going at it. We don't want to see heavyweights grapple. We want to see heavyweights throw some bombs and punch each other in the face.
Coming in on a one-fight win streak, 3-1 record, 2 decisions. His only loss was the decision, and he won by submission, a key lock. Out of, it's very rare, especially in the amateurs, where you see heavyweights go the distance. 3 of his 4 fights have won the distance, so certainly, Milan, cardio should not be an issue.
Absolutely not, yeah, for Chris Settles here. And you mentioned he's no stranger to the OFC cage. His 3rd fight in Ohio Fighting Championship, his last win, last fight coming against Rick White, and that was by submission in the first round against Rick White there. So, but again, Chris Settles here looking to do some damage here. Again, wants to win the amateur heavyweight title here in the Ohio Fighting Championship here, and looking forward to this as well.
Strike MMA, an outstanding gym. It really has done a nice job getting Chris Settles ready for this. And Settles, another guy only 22 years old, but his attitude belies that age. You would think you're talking to a much older, much more experienced fighter than only 4 fights. When talking to him before the fight, very relaxed, and you can see it on his face there. He knows what he has to do. He's trained, he's prepared, and he's not. The moment's not too big for this young man. Absolutely not, and he's very determined, just very focused heading into this fight. Again, it's for the belts, and anytime you fight for a belt, whatever competition, whatever title it is, you want that. You want a guy who's laser focused and very calm heading into the fight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the heavyweight champion, John Gardner.
John Gardner from Top Dog MMA, the amateur heavyweight champ here at Ohio Fighting Championships. We will take a look at the tail of the tape for this heavyweight title bout.
Chris Settles, obviously the heavier fighter, 264 to 236, a little bit taller. So Chris Settles is longer, so we'll see. He could maybe get some more power behind those strikes. He has a longer reach. However, John Gardner, he's the champ. And I think a wise man once said, to be the man, woo, you got to beat the man. And for Gardner, he's going to do whatever he can to keep his heavyweight title belt.
I like it. If only we had a robe on John Gardner, it'd be even more fitting. A little powder blue with white feathers.
Either way, he's still styling and profiling. John Gardner, again, the heavyweight champ here in the Ohio Fighting Championship. And again, he's a guy, he's used to this stage here. He's used to fighting for titles. And
comes in with a wrestling background, 15 years he wrestled, certainly at Franklin Heights High School here in Columbus. But he feels like he's grown as a fighter, and one of the ways he's done that is by cross-training, moving his camps around a little bit. Working on his submissions, and he too has good cardio. We'll see as the lighter fighter if he tries to push that pace on the much bigger Chris Settles.
Absolutely, and John Gardner as well. The fact that he's moving his camp around shows that credit to him as an amateur, wants to take a lot from a lot of different camps and make himself a better fighter.
Both fighters in the cage. We send it up to Nick Hahn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this fight is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds, and it is for the OFC Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first, the challenger in the red corner. This man is a wrestler with an MMA record of 3 wins with 1 loss. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 264 pounds, fighting on a Strike Fitness MMA, Chris the Viking Warrior Settles. His opponent and champion in the blue corner. This man is a wrestler with an MMA record of 5 wins and 3 losses. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 236 pounds. Fighting out of Top Dog MMA, he is the reigning, defending OFC Heavyweight Champion, John Baby Monster Gardner. And when the action begins, your referee is Brent Bollick.
All right, gentlemen, touch gloves. Let's have a good, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. You guys have any questions? Let's fight, guys.
Ooh. Chris Settles in the black. John the Baby Monster Gardner, your champion, in the dark blue. Ryan Kavanaugh along with Milan Jordan, the fighters touch gloves.
Yeah, they didn't fight touch gloves there after the referee's instructions. They're very interesting.
It's the champ Gardner who takes center cage. Outside leg kick by Settles. Often see this feeling out process with the heavyweights because it's one punch knockout power with the big boys.
Absolutely, and Gardner, to his credit, he's kind of stalking there, kind of wants to dictate the pace there, and he knows he doesn't want to make a mistake there and give a pocket.
Outside leg kick by Settles, and Gardner checks it.
And Gardner doesn't want to have like a looping right hand or something where Settles can come in and make him pay for his mistakes. So again, it's a feeling out process here with the big boys. No, in the early going, Settles looks a little more calm.
He's looked calm all evening leading up to this fight. Big right hand by Settles. Gardner sees it well, ducks, and he counters, but Settles was already gone. And there's a right hand that gets through. Straight right by Settles.
Yep, clipped him in the nose. Gardner shakes it off.
Settles with a much longer reach.
And you see the distance between the two where he's trying to take advantage of that. With Gardner, he's the quicker fighter and maybe just jump in and maybe like 1-2 quick combination and get out.
Overhand right by Gardner, and Settles gives him a smile. That's as if to say, you got me with that one. Halfway through the first round, scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds, amateur heavyweight division. The champ, John Gardner, challenger, Chris Settles, both fighters taking their time, picking their strikes. Gardner takes center cage. Settles moving around on the outside. There's some heavy shots that miss.
You know, and with Gardner, I mean, he's gone a couple of times. He's gone the distance a couple of times. 2 of his wins are by decision. So he's not afraid to take his time. He knows this. He wants to make this a 9-minute fight. He wants to be precise with his striking, precise with his takedowns as well. So maybe waiting for Settles to maybe make a mistake and take advantage of that.
It's a teep by Chris Settles, kind of pushes Gardner off. Gardner again, standing right in the middle of in the center of the cage as Settles moves out around on the outside.
The fact that this has been a bit of a feeling out process for most of this round, maybe he's waiting for Settles here to maybe be a little anxious and maybe make a mistake.
Gardner goes for the shot. We're going to see the takedown defense of Chris Settles.
Nice reversal for Settles as now he has Gardner against the cage. Lands a beautiful knee to the stomach.
There's an overhand right by Gardner off the clinch. We're inside 10 seconds of the first round. Lead left hook by Gardner, right at the buzzer.
Both guys acknowledge a good round here in round number one. And he's, again, there's a lot of wait and see for both guys. You saw some flurry of action there. Again, you see guys with landing the combinations there and then getting out quickly there. So, tell you what, it's a tough round to score there, Ryan.
Yeah, and there's Jamie, the lovely OFC ring girl. Well, you know, that's why I have you here. How do you score it?
You know what? I think I would give it to Gardner in that first round. Again, very close, but for Gardner, he landed some more shots. He was more of the aggressive fighter. Settles there was kind of just leaning back, and he wanted to take advantage of his reach there and wasn't really able to. He was content on keeping the distance there so that Gardner wouldn't come in. So I think Settles fought a little more defensively in round number one here.
This should be the end of the round, I believe. We'll see. There's a left hook here from Gardner that I think lands, and maybe one a little bit after the bell. But I believe Gardner hits him with a lead left here coming in.
Yeah,
there it was.
Yeah, and then he throws a right hand there right at as the bell sounded there. But yeah, again, Gardner, he's the champ. He knows what he needs to do, and again, very precise, very, you know, when he needs to throw his strikes. He's not just throwing haymakers just for the sake of throwing them.
Sure, there's certainly a method in timing the strikes. We start round two, scheduled for 3 rounds. It's the challenger, Chris Settles, in the black. The champion, John Gardner, in the dark blue. Gardner takes center cage.
And Gardner, you know, wants to take his time there because it's his belt to lose. So he wants to be very smart here and just take his time and just work the pace there. And you know, especially he feels the deeper this fight goes, the more advantage is to him. Again, he's almost 30 pounds lighter than the challenger, Chris Settles.
Big outside right from Settles. And, you know, Settles, with the longer reach, I'd like to see him really establish that jab. Good outside leg kick by Gardner. You know, but Settles has got to pump that jab. Put the jab in the face of Gardner.
So if facial expressions and body language means anything here, you see Settles starting to see like okay, I want to hit him. I want to do something, but I'm not able to. And that's a credit to Gardner.
And there's a right by Settles. And then he comes back in with a left and back out. So far, great movement this round by Chris Settles, coming in and coming out with his punches. There's some blood on the right side of Gardner's neck, and I'm not sure where it came from.
Not sure when that happened, but you know, it's on his neck, so not too bad. He can still see, so obviously it's not on his face. So
not a threat to end the fight.
Absolutely. So, but again, you see Gardner with a leg kick there.
Those are stiff outside leg kicks by Gardner, and so far, that's been his best strike.
Nice takedown defense from Chris Settles, as now he lands some knees against the cage. Nice uppercut.
Uppercut by Gardner lands as he gets out. Good action against the cage.
I say you love the action here from the heavyweights here. And in a title fight, wouldn't want to have it any other way.
And Settles, they'd like to see him, again, get working with the feet, mix up the punches. Get in and out, and for Gardner, got to close that distance. He just threw a left hook that's short. Fell short of his target because, well, quite frankly, Settles is just too far away.
Yeah, and Gardner, he wants to get into the clinch. He has a good clinch game, and once, but we see a knee from Gardner, or to Gardner's head. As Settles there, now using the clinch to his advantage, trying to choke out the champ.
Cinching up the guillotine. Gardner, you can see both hands are on the wrist of Settles trying to defend, and there's the knees again. These knees are crushing the midsection of Gardner, and he's slumping a little bit. There's some uppercuts that get through. Great clinch work, dirty boxing by the challenger, Chris Settles, and there's a tap. Chris Settles standing guillotine. And Gardner goes down. We've got a new champ.
Chris the Viking Warrior Settles getting it done. A standing guillotine, just beautiful, beautiful, precise there for Chris Settles. And for Chris Settles, wow, I mean, again, to his credit, he's the one that bought some time there, where he was able to pick his punches there, got Gardner against the cage, and Settles able to land a couple of knees there, and also a couple of body shots, and eventually just choked out the champ, John Gardner.
Very impressive. But take a look at the finish here, Milan.
Here's the fight, standing guillotine, and you know, you see Chris Settles here landing some body shots with the left, and the whole time is able to maintain that choke, the guillotine against John Gardner, and for Gardner, eventually he just wore out and had to tap.
Impressive performance from that man, their new champ, Chris Settles. As they get the scorecards together, I'm gonna head up into the cage and have a word with the new champ.
So Ryan Kavanaugh heads to the cage. We'll hear an interview of the new champ, Chris Settles, as now we head to Nick Khan to make this fight official in the heavyweight division.
Stop to this contest at 2 minutes, 33 seconds in the second round, declaring your winner by tap out due to a guillotine choke. And now, the new OFC heavyweight champion, Chris the Viking Warrior Settles.
There's the Viking Warrior with the hardware. Take your mouthpiece out. Let's have a word with you. First of all, the fight looked like you decided you want to stay on the outside and kind of pick them apart. Was that the game plan? And if so, how do you think it went?
It went exactly as we planned. My arms are a lot longer than his. We know he likes to come in and try for takedowns, so the plan was to stay back, defend those, and strike a little bit.
Did you know when you locked up the submission that you had him?
No, actually, I thought it was loose, so I started punching a knee in, and then I got a chance to sink it in a little deeper. That's when I knew I had him.
Now you got the champ, and that means you got a bullseye in your back. Walking up to the cage, I see some people. Shane Edwards, one of them, who would like a shot at you. Tell me, what's next for the Viking Warrior?
Whoever wants a piece, let's do it.
I like the attitude. And especially if you're willing to stand in here and bang and throw some punches. That's always a fight I'd like to be at. Now you're the champ. Congratulations. Who out there would you like to thank?
Strike and my whole family in this section, especially Jared and Donnie, my fiance and my little kid, and everyone that came out to support me and my team tonight here fighting.
On behalf of OFC, we'd like to thank you for putting on a performance here tonight. One more time, your new champ, Chris Settles.